Hi all, in this video I want to show you how to bring a CSV file into RStudio. So what you can see right here is just a CSV, it's called Nations, it's just a data set. You can see that it's got 10 columns, so 10 variables, and it's got a lot of rows. It's got thousands of rows, but that doesn't matter. What we want to do is we want to notice where it's been saved. So I'm going to show you what you would do is you want to make sure that you save your file in the folder that you want to have it saved. If you can see up here, I've saved it in this datasets folder. Ignore the fact that there are two of them, but for me, that's where I've saved it. All right, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into RStudio, and you're going to start opening up a new Markdown file. So remember, there are a number of ways to do it, but if you do New File, Markdown, we're going to start with that. And this one we're going to title Nations. So you can see here's the new file. I'm going to wipe away all of the default code that came up. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to say that I'm going to be loading the data. I'm going to create a chunk. And before I even do anything else, what I want to do is set my working directory. So up here in Session, I'm going to go to Set Working Directory, choose Directory, and you can see that mine is already set. Let's say that it was somewhere else. Okay, so I'm going to go back and find that folder that I wanted in. Now, in this folder, if you noticed, you don't see the actual file Nations. This is just telling RStudio where the directory is that it should be locating. You don't actually see the CSV file in there. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's all set now. But what I can do is, if you notice, I have to scroll down a bit. Let's see if I can pull this down. Notice that I haven't actually done anything. Down in the bottom of the console is where it says Set Working Directory. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to place that code into my chunk, Set Working Directory, and that's the path to the Nations data set. Now I can actually define my variable. I'll call it Nations, and I'm going to do two different ways. First, I'm going to do read.csv, and you can see that that's one of the options that comes up. But now all I have to do is title it, the title of my data set, Nations, but don't forget it's dot and then the suffix of it, the CSV, and make sure it's in quotes. But one other option I can do is I can add an additional library package. I'm going to put hashtags on this. I'm going to comment it out. Make sure that you install the package Tidyverse. I'm putting it in a comment because I've already installed it, and you don't want to reinstall it. It causes problems for knitting, but I'm going to call the library of Tidyverse. And when I call that library of Tidyverse, I can actually do a better read to read in the data, read_CSV. That's under the readr program, and it just reads in the information a little bit better. So if I start with that, now you can see that if I pull this out of it, you can see that Nations is in my global environment. It's 5,275 rows, observations with 10 columns, 10 variables. And now you can also see that it tells me what it is reading in each variable, how it's interpreting each. So as either a string, a character string, or call double is the computer science version of kind of a continuous variable. And then I can do all sorts of things with that Nations data set. But for now, that's basically what I want to do, is just read it in. Let me think if there's anything else I wanted to make sure. If you wanted to view it, let's just do one more thing. So we'll make a new chunk. View the data. And so we can just, there are lots of different things that you can do with it. You can glimpse the data. And it gives a little bit more specific information about that. Instead of glimpse, you could view it. and it actually will pop up in the whole actual chart. So you can see it there. The last thing you should always make sure that you remember to do is you should always save. So notice that right now, this is my untitled document. So make sure you go to Save As, and you save it in whatever folder you want. I'm going to save it in a different folder. In fact, right now I'm just going to save it in my temporary. So I'm going to save it in downloads, but you would save it as Nations RMD or whatever you want to call it, and then it's all saved. So hopefully that helps you get some data in, and there'll be more later. Thanks. Bye.